Einstein theory of photoelectric effect, and the last topic what we have done, it was to it was anyone it was like the radiation is behaving as a wave as well as particle. So today our first topic is matter waves. Okay, first topic is matter waves, and these waves are also called de Broglie waves. De Broglie waves. De Broglie was the scientist. Okay, de Broglie wave. How de Broglie conclude that matter must have wave or matter must be behaving as a wave also? Two reasons for that. First reason, in nature, everything exists in symmetry. If from one thing we can found other, then from other we can found the first one also. Like electric field and magnetic field is there. From electric field, by changing electric field, we can produce magnetic field, and it goes in the reverse order also. By changing magnetic field, we can produce electric field also. Okay, so here if radiation behaves as wave as well as particle, then the matter also will behave as a particle and a wave. Actually, there are two form in which the nature is divided. There are two categories in which the nature is divided. One is matter. Okay, one is matter, and the other is energy. In these two category, all the thing which you can see, all the thing which you can see can be divided. Either the thing can be matter or the thing can be energy. So matter and energy, there are two categories in which we can divide the whole universe. Now some things are there which exist in the form of matter, like mass, okay, and some things are there which exist in the form of energy. Is it clear? Now radiation is basically an energy. Radiation is what? It is energy. But what we have seen, that radiation also behaves as matter, means particle. Particle comes in the consideration of matter. So radiation has both nature, energy as well as matter. So matter will have also the same. Matter will have its own nature, that is a particle nature, and matter will behave in energy form also. So there'll be must be some energy which is associated with the matter, and that energy is in the form of radiation. Okay, so matter behaves as radiation as well as particle. So there must be a wave which is associated with the matter, which is called matter wave or de Broglie wave. And the second reason for that, as per the Einstein, one very famous equation is there. You must be knowing that E is equal to mc square. Do you know that? E is equal to mc square. E is energy, m is mass, and c is speed of light. Okay, so E is equal to mc square. What that E denotes? Energy. What that m denotes? Mass. Now I want to ask, when we use this equation, is there any practical application of that? Anyone? We use this equation when we study nuclear fusion or nuclear fission. What we have been told till now, we have been told that m is the mass which is destroyed. Yes, nuclear reactions. Good, Aditya. M is the mass which is destroyed, and then E amount of energy is being released. That we have been told all the time. If this amount of mass is destroyed, then this amount of energy is being released. It is a truth, but it is not the complete truth. Okay? E is equal to mc square is something greater than that. E is energy and m is mass. तो mass basically relates to matter. Mass basically relates to matter. And here that E, which comes out during the nuclear reaction, it is in form of heat. It is in the form of heat radiations. So basically here that energy is related to this category. Okay, energy category. Is it clear? Actually, don't confuse between this energy and kinetic energy, potential energy, that all. That potential energy, kinetic energy is due to mechanical, they are in the form of mechanical, okay? Mechanical form of energies are there. So due to position of the body, potential energy is there, and due to motion, kinetic energy is there. I'm not talking about that energy. I'm talking about energy possessed by radiations, like heat radiation, the light which is coming from sun. It is also having some heat radiations. So here, when I say energy, what do I mean? I mean energy like heat radiations. Okay, like energy possessed by X-rays, energy possessed by gamma rays. I am asking about that energy. So here, if m amount of mass is destroyed, then E amount of energy is released. The energy is in which form? It is in form of radiations. It is in form of heat energy radiations. Is it clear? So this equation relates energy and matter. This equation relates energy and matter. Have you got that? Yes? Tell me. So this equation relates energy as well as the mass, means energy and matter. And according to Einstein, one more equation is there, and that equation is E is equal to h nu. E is equal to h nu. According to Einstein, one more equation is there. E is equal to h nu. What is that E? E is energy, h is Planck's constant, nu is the frequency of radiation. Nu is the frequency of radiation. Now, as per this equation, with m amount of mass, this much energy is being associated. And if we are talking that, if we are telling that radiation is also a particle, so it must be having some mass. And if it must be having some mass, then it must be having some energy. So this energy must be equal to this energy. So here we can relate these two. And what we can write? We can write, according to Einstein, E is equal to mc square, and also E is equal to h nu. Okay, when we equate them, what we are going to have? Mc square is equal to h nu, or mc is equal to h. Nu can be written as c upon lambda, because c is equal to nu lambda. So nu can be written as c upon lambda. Now one c will be cancelled out, and from here, if we calculate the value of lambda, so lambda comes out to be, lambda is transferred to this side, mc is transferred to this side, h upon m into c. What is that m over here? What is that m? M is the mass of photon. And what is c? What is c? So c is the velocity of photon, basically when it is traveling in vacuum. Mass into velocity, what this quantity is called? Mass into velocity. What this quantity is called? Mass into velocity, this quantity is called? Anyone? Yes? Momentum. Good. Good, good. Small p, momentum. H upon small p. So from here we got a very important relation, and that relation is lambda is equal to h upon p. If it is applicable for photon, which is basically a particle, then it is applicable for every particle. So instead of putting its mass in for particle, what if someone asks what is the wavelength associated with this particle, then what we have to do? We have to apply this formula, lambda is equal to h upon p. In place of p, we'll put the momentum. Have you got that? Yes, tell me. Wavelength of wave associated with any particle is given by lambda is equal to h upon p. So this wavelength lambda, this wavelength is called de Broglie wavelength. De Broglie wavelength. Is it clear? This wavelength is called de Broglie wavelength, and from equation it is very much clear that lambda is inversely proportional to the momentum. Okay, lambda is inversely proportional to the momentum. If momentum is greater, then wavelength will be small. If momentum is smaller, then wavelength will be greater. Okay, I hope it is clear. Yes, tell me. Is there anyone who is having problem? Is there anyone who is having problem? Yes? Nobody. Okay, good. So this is the wavelength which we call de Broglie wavelength, and this is the wavelength associated with the particle. Till now, what we have studied, let me repeat once again. I have told that first point was nature loves symmetry. In nature, everything exists in symmetry. So if radiations, if waves can behave as a particle, then particle will also behave as a wave. This was the first point. And the second point is, according to Einstein, the energy associated with a mass m is given by E is equal to mc square, and the energy of photon can be given as E is equal to h nu. Since we are talking that photon is a particle, so it must be having some mass. So let us equate both of them, and from there we got lambda is equal to h upon mc, that is h upon p. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear? So now let us, from first point, please repeat. Ragini, first point says that in nature photon mass less hai na. Anshika, okay, first Ragini. Ragini, the first point was in nature everything exists in symmetry. Okay, in nature what is existing? Like I have given the example also, from changing, if you change electric field in a space, then magnetic field can be produced. And similarly, if you can change magnetic field in a space, then electric field can also be produced. So from electric field, if you can achieve magnetic field, then from magnetic field you can achieve electric field also. So this happens in nature, right? So if radiations, basically they are waves. So if waves are behaving as a particle, then particle must also behaves as wave, or we must have a wave characteristics associated with particles. Is it clear? Ragini? Ragini, if this point is clear. Okay, now Anshika. Anshika, you told that photon massless. Photon is massless, but when it is at rest. When photon is at rest, then its mass is zero. When photon is in motion, then we cannot say it is massless. Have you got that now? Anshika? Okay, good. So now let us try to understand some more properties of matter waves so that the chapter can be done today only. This is going to be the last topic of the chapter, because after this topic, one more topic used to be there, and that topic was Davison-Germer experiment, but this year it has been deleted. So this is going to be the last topic of the chapter. After this, if we are left with some time, then we'll solve the numericals, right? Important numericals. So first of all, properties of what we are going to do. We are going to do properties of matter waves. Matter waves. Properties of matter waves. The first property is in the definition only. Lambda is equal to h upon p. So it implies that lambda is inversely proportional to the momentum. That we have already discussed. So no more discussion about this point. Okay. Second property is, if we talk about the particles which we see in our day-to-day life, if we talk about the particles which we see in our day-to-day life, then what is happening? Suppose we are talking about a particle which is of 100 gram and it is moving with a speed of 100 meter per second. Okay, let it be 1 kilogram, and it is moving with a speed of 100 meter per second. Okay, so the wavelength associated with that particle will be given as h upon 1 kg multiplied by 100. If you put the value of h, it will be 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 34 upon 100. It hardly comes out to be what? 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 32 meter, which is very small. Which is very small. So basically what happens with macro bodies, when we talk about the bodies which we can see, we call them macro bodies. When we talk about macro bodies, the wavelength associated with them cannot be observable. We cannot be observed. We cannot observe them because the wavelength is too small to observe. Is it clear? But when we talk about microparticles, suppose we are talking about an electron, and for electrons, for alpha particles, for beta particles, they are microparticles. So for those particles, sir, tell one more time why you put 1 into 100. 1 kg is the mass, 100 meter per second is the velocity. I have taken just an example. 100 meter per second is quite big velocity. Is it clear? Yes, that is assumption. Just I wanted to tell you that it is not possible to observe wavelength in our day-to-day life. If you want to observe wavelength associated with, suppose I am riding my bike, okay, at 50 kilometer per hour. So if I want to know what is the wavelength associated with me, I cannot observe that because that wavelength will be very small to observe. Is it clear? Anurag? Okay, good. So now, the second point I was telling is, yes, we are talking about microparticles, but when we talk about electrons, alpha particle, beta particles, their mass is very less. Suppose one proton, if we are talking about one proton, what is the mass of one proton? Mass of one proton is 1.67 into 10 to the power minus 27 kg. Now, when this 27 kg is divided over here, then it goes in the numerator, then this power will be around 10 to the power minus 7 meter. So in that case, we can observe a matter wave, but here we cannot observe when we talk about macro bodies. So wavelength associated with particles, microparticles, can be observed, but wavelength associated with macroparticles cannot be observed because it is very small. Have you got that? Yes? Okay, shall we move ahead now? Okay, good. Okay, the third point. Suppose if a body is at rest, then what will happen? Its momentum will be zero. Its momentum will be zero because mass into velocity. Mass into velocity is there, then its momentum will be zero. And if its momentum is zero, then lambda will be what? H upon 0, which is undefined actually, infinity. So matter waves are associated only with those particles which are in motion. Matter waves are associated only particles in motion. If the body is at rest, there is no matter wave associated with it. Have you got that? Yes. Have you got that? Tell me fast. Okay, good. So particles should be in motion as per if we want to observe matter waves associated with it. Fourth point. When we talk about matter waves, we don't talk about charge on the particle, right? We don't talk about charge on the particle. What we talk about, its mass and its velocity, that is its momentum. So particle is having a charge, particle is not having a charge. It is not an issue as far as matter waves are concerned. If you are talking about electromagnetic wave, then it should be charge should be there. But if you are talking about matter waves, particle need not to have a charge. And if the particle is having a charge also, then it will not change its matter wave. Matter wave will remain same. Okay, so matter waves are independent of charge. Okay, fifth point. Fifth point and the last point. Suppose we are talking about matter waves associated with an electron. We are talking about matter waves associated with an electron. So matter wave is given by lambda is equal to h upon p. Is there anyone who can tell me what is the relation between momentum and the kinetic energy? Is there anyone who can tell me the relation between momentum and the kinetic energy? P is equal to root 2 mk. Anyone else? You can speak up. Nobody wants to speak. Okay, no problem. The answer is correct. We can write under root 2 mk. K, I should write K into E, that is the kinetic energy. And when an electron is, good, P and 2 under root 2 ME, MEV, okay, good, that is also correct. Now, when we talk about kinetic energy of electron, root 2 MKE, MKE, it's okay, quite good. Okay, so when we talk about kinetic energy of electrons, when it is accelerated by a potential difference, then in place of kinetic energy, we can put EV. So we can write under root 2 M into E into V. So this is the formula for wavelength associated with an electron. Okay, wavelength associated with an electron. And since H is constant, M is constant, E is constant. H is constant, M is constant, E is constant. When we put these values and when we solve it, what we get? We get lambda is equal to 12.3 upon under root V angstrom. But remember, students, it is value for the electron. Okay, and if you want to generalize it for any charge, for any other charge, for any other charge, okay, for any other charge, so lambda must be equal to what? H upon under root 2 mass of that charge, Q into V. Okay, in place of electron, just write Q. So this is all about this chapter, this particular matter waves. This much we have to study. And from here, what is the conclusion? Conclusion is that much only. The particle behaves as wave as well as its own nature, as well as the wave also behaves as particle and it having its own nature. Okay. In the exam, what type of questions are being asked? We will be asked that in interference of light, waves behaves as. Interference of light, what is the nature of wave? Whether it is particle, whether it is wave, whether it is both, or whether none of them. Answer is wave. You put here also m is equal to 1. Why is it so? Who has asked this one? I have not read the name. Why should I put m is equal to 1? Anurag. Why is it so? To get the value of lambda. To get the value of lambda for, here we are talking about wavelength associated with an electron or wavelength associated with any charged particle which is being accelerated by a potential difference of V. Why should I put m is equal to 1 kg? If 1 kg of mass m is of E, yes, I have put it over there. And that's why HME, when we solve, that's why I've written the value 12.3 and I've converted that into angstrom also. Okay, mass of electron I have put over there. Is it clear? Is it clear? Anurag? Okay, good. So this is all about this chapter. Okay, this chapter is done over here. Earlier one experiment was also there, Davison-Germa experiment, but this time it is not there. In place of that, let me tell you another experiment. Okay, one video is there also of MIT on YouTube. It is available. If you can see, we have done the experiment of this one, interference of light. We have done, right? So what we observed, if we take a slit here, two narrow holes, and we put a screen which can detect electron. If electron hits this screen, then there is a bright spot. And here we have put an electron gun, which fires in all directions. Here, everywhere, everywhere. What we observe on the screen, not looking. Okay. Once again, let this be screen. Let this be two narrow holes, and here is an electron gun. I hope it is visible now. Yes, it is. So this electron can fire in all the directions. In all the direction, electrons are being fired from the electron gun. Okay, and now here it is a sensitive screen. When electron hits the screen, what we observe, that part glows. Okay, it becomes bright. Now what we observe, we observe a similar pattern what we have observed in case of interference. Here we have got bright spot, means electrons are hitting here, and then one dark, then again a bright spot, then one dark, then again a bright spot, then one dark. Same goes here. Okay, same goes here. Is it clear? So from this experiment, it is being found that electrons behaves as a wave also, because this interference of light is a phenomenon that is represented by wave, that is shown by the wave, but electrons are behaving in that manner only. So what we say, electrons will also behave as a wave, electron will also behave as a wave. Is it clear? Okay, so let us take a break of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, and then after we'll start solving the numerical of this chapter. From tomorrow, I'll start the new chapter. Is it clear? So let us stop over here, and then after we'll start the new chapter. Thank you. Okay, just write the question. The following table gives values of work function, values of work function for a few photosensitive metals. The following table gives the value of work function for a few photosensitive metals. Full stop. After that, if each of these metals, if each of these metals, mute your mic, I can hear some noise. If each of these metals is exposed to radiations of, if each of these metals is exposed to radiations of 300 nanometer, 300 nanometer, then which of them will not emit photoelectrons? Which of them will not emit photoelectrons? How that table look like? The C, here is the serial number, here is a metal, and here it is work function. Work function is an electron. Okay, three metals have been given. The first one is sodium, potassium, and molybdenum. Sodium, potassium, and molybdenum. And the work function is 1.92, 1.92, 2.15, 2.15, and the last one is 4.17. Okay, so this is the question, and what you have been asked? You have been asked that if each of these are exposed to a radiation of wavelength 300 nanometer, then which of them will not emit photoelectrons? Take 1 minute time, solve it by yourself. Do it. If the first one you are not able to see, it is 1.92. 1.92 electron volt. What you have been asked? Which of them? Your voice is not coming. Why is it so? From my side, everything is okay. Who is this boy? Ankit Mishra. Again, I'll upload the video. If voice is not coming, I cannot do anything. From my side, everything is okay. From my side, even speed is also okay. Yes, anyone with the answer? Anyone with the answer? The students who have come just now, let me tell you the question. These are three metals. Work function has been given. What you have been asked? If this wavelength is falling on all of them, then which one of them will not emit photoelectrons? This is the question. And this question is, sir, wait please. Yes, I am waiting. This question has come in the board exam of 2000 and this year is 2018 board exams. Sir, Na atom. Wrong. Wrong. Anurag, it is wrong. M, molybdenum. Yes, it is correct. Yes, correct. Abhilasha, correct. Correct. Umang, correct. Good. Is there anyone who can tell me what is the, how have you solved? Have you calculated energy of incident photon? Have you calculated energy of incident photon? Actually, there are two ways to calculate this question. In the first one, from the work function, you can calculate the threshold frequency. From the work function, you can calculate the threshold frequency, and then after, from that threshold frequency, you can calculate by knowing the work function. Anshika, by knowing the work function, Ankita Mal, HC by lambda, good. Okay, listen to me. There are two ways to solve this question. First way is from the work function, just calculate threshold frequency. From threshold frequency, just calculate threshold wavelength. If this wavelength is greater than that one, then photoelectrons will emit. If that wavelength is less, then photoelectron will not emit. In this way, you have to solve for three different times. But if you go in the second way, then just calculate energy associated with this radiation. And it is given by E is equal to h nu or E is equal to hc by lambda. If you put the value, then 6.63 into 10 to the power minus 34, let it be 6.6, into 3 into 10 to the power 8, upon lambda. Lambda has been given 300 nanometer. So it will be 300 multiplied by 10 to the power minus 9. Now if you solve it, 3 will cut this 300 100 times. Now this 100 will be adjusted with this. 10 to the power minus 7 will come out. Now 10 to the power minus 7 will go in the numerator, it will become plus. So minus 7 will become plus 8 plus 7, 15, minus 34 plus 15. How much we are going to have? 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 34 plus 15 minus 19. I think, yes, minus 19. So this is joule. This is joule. And we have to convert this joule into electron volt also. So E is equal to, now just see, 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 joule is 1 electron volt. So if 1 joule we want to calculate, then it has to be divided. So 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 upon 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. 10 to the power minus 19, 10 to the power minus 19 will be cancelled out. 1.6, so it will be 66 upon 16. Or we can write 33 upon 8. Now if you divide this, then 8 4s are 32. Then after 1 will remaining, then 8 1s are 8. 2 will remain, 8 2s are 16. 4.2 electron, 4.12 electron volt comes out. So now just see, this energy, this is what? This is the energy of incident radiation. This is the energy of incident radiation. This is the energy required to escape the electron. Work function is what? Energy required to escape the electron. So this energy is greater than this, but less than this. So basically this requires more energy to escape out from the metal surface. And that's why the answer is the molybdenum. Have you got that? Tell me. Tell me in the message, have you got that? Yes? Have you got that? Anyone? Okay, good. If in the same question, if I ask, what is the maximum kinetic energy that the electron of sodium atom can have? Can you calculate and tell me? What is the maximum kinetic energy of electron that electron of sodium atom has? Maximum kinetic energy I am asking. How will you calculate? 2.2. Anshika, how have you calculated? Yes. Anshika, how have you calculated? Total energy is what? 4.12. And this requires what? 1.92. So rest of the energy will go into kinetic energy. Yes, good. 2.2 is the answer. Good. Good. Are you getting the concept? Total minus work function. Good, Ankita. Are you getting the concept? Are you getting the concept? Shall I take different type of problem now? Okay, let us take a different one. Let us take a different one. Just write one question. A monochromatic source, write the another question. A monochromatic source, emitting. Okay, the question is, a monochromatic source emitting light, a monochromatic source emitting light of wavelength, 600 nanometer, emitting light of wavelength 600 nanometer, has an output power of 66 watt, of 66 watt. Full stop. Calculate the number of photons. Calculate the number of photons emitted by the source in 2 minutes. Emitted by the source in 2 minutes. Solve it by yourself. Solve it by yourself. Yes, give it a try. And after solving, you can speak also. Yes, so it's solved. N is equal to 2.4 into 10 to the power 22. Very good, Nikki. Good. Correct. 2.3 into 10 to the power 22. Yes, acceptable. Abhilasha. Good. Acceptable. Yes. Anyone else? You can speak also. You can speak also. Abhinay. Correct. 2.4 into 10 to the power 22 photons. Correct answer. Now let us see how this is being solved. Most of you are able to solve this. But let me tell from my side. So wavelength which has been given is 600 nanometer. Lambda is equal to 600 nanometer. E is equal to hc by lambda. So E is equal to 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 34 multiply by 3 into 10 to the power 8 upon lambda is what? Wavelength, it is 600 into 10 to the power minus 9. Okay. Now if we solve it, 3 will cut this 600 200 times. 2 will cut this 100 times. This will become 3.3. Now 100 will be multiplied again with 9. It will become 10 to the power minus 7. It goes in the numerator. It will become 10 to the power 15. When we solve minus 34 plus 15, it will become 10 to the power minus 19. So 3.3 into 10 to the power minus 19 joule. This is the energy possessed by one photon. Okay, this is the energy possessed by one photon. And we have been given that the output power is 66 watt. What is power? Power is basically energy upon time. Power is equal to what? Energy upon time. So basically what is energy? Power multiplied by time. And now this energy is not of one photon. This energy is, is of the total energy of number of photons which are being emitted in 2 minutes. So basically this is going to be n multiplied by this amount of energy. which is possessed by one photon, 10 to the power minus 19, is equal to 66 watt, and the time is given 2 minutes, basically 120 seconds. Okay. Now you have to solve this one. So n comes out to be 66 multiplied by 120 upon 3.3 into 10 to the power minus 19. Now if we cut this one, it will cut it 20 times. 12 multiplied by 20, it will become 24, then two zeros, multiply by 10 to the power 19. This, if we adjust these three numbers, we are going to have 2.4 into 10 to the power 22 photons. This is the answer, right? This is the answer. Okay. Shall we move ahead? Shall we solve another one? Yes, tell me. Shall we solve another one? Okay, good. Just write. One alpha particle. If you have not taken the screenshot, you can take. Now write the question. One alpha particle and a proton. Sir, please upload this video because your voice is lagging at high rate. Lagging at high rate means voice is lagging per second. So, okay, I'll upload the video, don't worry. So, question is one alpha particle and one proton are accelerated by same potential difference. One alpha particle and one proton are accelerated by same potential difference. Find the ratio of first their kinetic energy, and the second wavelength, de Broglie wavelengths. Okay, this much given in the question. One alpha particle is there and one proton is there, and they are being accelerated by same potential difference. You need to find out the ratio of their kinetic energy and the ratio of their. So repeat question. Question is one alpha particle and a proton are accelerated by same potential difference. Find the ratio of their kinetic energy and de Broglie wavelength. This is the question. Okay, this is the question. Solve it by yourself. And this question is not there in the book. I have told by myself. It is not there in the book. Okay. Don't speak. Okay, acha, you can speak. If you have solved, then speak your answer. Tell me your answer. You can speak. We are talking about one alpha particle and one proton. Yes. Two is to one. Anshika, is it the ratio of kinetic energy? Anshika, is it the ratio of kinetic energy or de Broglie wavelength? Kinetic. Okay. Yes, answer is correct. Two is to one. Then the other thing, de Broglie wavelength. One is to two wavelength. One is to two wavelength. Okay. I think Have you written proton first or alpha particle first? Nikira to everyone. 2 is to 1. 2 is to 1 is to 2. 2 is to 1. Okay. Let me specify first because it could be reverse also. You have to calculate K alpha upon K particle, and you have to calculate d Broglie wavelength of alpha upon d Broglie wavelength of proton. Okay? Not this way. Now tell me the answer. Is it 2 is to 1 or 1 is to 2? K alpha upon K proton, lambda alpha upon lambda proton. You have to tell this. Anshika, both of the answers are 2 is to 1 only. Okay, kinetic energy is 2 is to 1 and 1 is to 2 wavelength. 1 is to 2 wavelength. 1 is to 2 wavelength and kinetic energy is 2 is to 1. Okay. Yes, anyone else with a different answer or all of you are having same answer only? Alpha first, Anshika, okay. Kinetics are repeat question. Okay. First of all, you should know before solving this question, mass of alpha particle is considered to be 4 times mass of proton and charge of alpha particle is considered as 2 times charge of proton. Actually, charge on alpha particle is plus 2e and charge on proton is plus e. So basically, it is of twice. Okay, it is of twice. Now, if we talk about kinetic energy, so kinetic energy of alpha particle upon kinetic energy of proton, the formula says Q into V, Q of alpha upon Q of proton into V. V and V will be cancelled out because it in the question it is given that they are accelerated by the same potential difference. So Q alpha, if you put Q alpha, then we can put 2 into Q into P. So twice of charge on proton upon charge on proton. Charge on proton will be cancelled out. K alpha upon K proton is equal to what? 2 is to 1. This is the answer for kinetic energy. This is the answer for kinetic energy. And now if we come to de Broglie wavelength, then lambda alpha upon lambda proton is equal to, now formula for lambda is h upon under root 2 into mass of alpha into kinetic energy of alpha whole upon lambda of proton is h upon under root 2 into mass of proton and kinetic energy of proton, right? So h and h will be cancelled out, root 2 will be cancelled out, so lambda alpha upon lambda proton is equal to under root mass of proton kinetic energy of proton upon under root mass of alpha particle into kinetic energy of alpha particle. Now we have calculated this ratio, K alpha upon Kp, K alpha upon Kp. So we should write this as like this, mass of proton upon mass of alpha into Kp upon K alpha we can put 2 is to 1. No, sorry, 1 is to 2. Now as far as mass is concerned, so mass of proton is once, so mass of proton is 4 times of it. So we are going to put it 1 upon 4 multiply by 1 by 2 and we are going to have some different answer, 1 by root 8. Have I done any mistake? Yes, tell me if you are feeling that. Have I done any mistake? Yes or where? Anshika? Mass of proton into mass of alpha, okay, Kp upon K alpha. ठीक तो है? Yes, Anshika, I have done. Have I done any mistake? Because all of you were having different answer. You were telling that the answer is 1 is to 2, but the answer is 1 is to 8. 1 is to root 8. What you have done, let me tell you. You forget about this mass. You forget about this mass. What you thought that it is inversely proportional to kinetic energy, and you told me the same ratio in the reverse. Is it like that? Is it like that? Okay. So mass is also there. That's why the first part was correct. The kinetic energy was correct, but this is wrong. The correct answer is 1 is to root 8. Okay. 1 is to root 8. So this is all for the day. From tomorrow we'll start the new chapter, chapter number 12, atoms. Is it clear? In the next week, by the Tuesday, the chapters, all chapters will be done, and your syllabus for the half yearly exam is also done. Then after we'll start revising. After that, we'll start revising. Tell me your favorite chapter, I'll start with that chapter. Okay? But after completing the chapter number 12, atoms. Is it clear? So this is all for the day. Thank you. Is there anyone who has to ask anything? What is syllabus of half yearly from chapter right from the chapter number 1 to chapter number 12 till atoms, and then 13 and 14 for the pre board I have left. After half yearly we will do chapter number 13, chapter number 14. Okay, so this is all for the day. Thank you.